All right, well, we're back. That was some good discussion we had on the internship programs with the Big Ten universities and trying to recruit there some more. So I'm glad everyone had a good break. And now we're going to move on to new business. So I sent you guys all a chart with our income, our net profit that we had in the last quarter, 4 quarters. So as you can see by that chart, that we have earned a 15% increase above what we were projected. And due to budgets and different things, we kind of have some extra money that we have available for us. So I asked each of you to kind of go ahead, come up with an idea of what you think we should do with this money, and then that way we can kind of figure out what we should spend that extra 15% on. So I guess this is just going to be a time for discussion. If whoever wants to start can go ahead and kind of talk about their ideas, and then we'll discuss them through, and then we'll make a decision at the end. So.
Well, as a CFO, my main priority is repaying our investors. So I really believe that they're the reason we are where we are today. So I believe we should try to invest that money in some stocks or something similar in order to make a profit enough to repay back our investors and maybe buy back some of our own stock so we own more of our own company. I do think that this is the smartest solution with this extra money. We weren't planning on having it, so no other program's really losing money out of doing this. So I feel like the smartest, most logical solution.
Well, as Director of Product Research, I think we should invest our money into creating new projects and researching the ones we already have to make them better and to expand them to cover more range. With our product specifically, the workplace is always evolving, so we want to stay ahead of the research in the field rather than fall behind or even stay on pace. With our product, we can make it more focused because we work with Fortune 500 companies as well as small businesses, and so that's a huge range, and we want to be able to cater towards everyone that we want to. And so not only size and financially, but our companies are diverse that we work with, and so just make it as tailored to them as we can. So ways we can improve are make our assessments faster, more precise, and better at detecting fakery, and we can expand the meta-analysis that our assessments are based out of. So include some of the more recent studies, look into other possible areas that we might have missed in our original meta-analysis, and then make the whole thing just more user-friendly as well.
Okay, so as Director of Talent Development, I really think it's really important that we use our extra profits to focus on our employees because they've been working really hard to make sure that we're this successful. And I was recently contacted by a colleague about a conference in Arizona that is coming up in March. I think would be really beneficial to send some of our top employees to, where they'll be able to network and just learn skills to be more productive in the workplace. But one of the issues is that it is expensive. It'll be about $3,000 per employee. So I think even though it is an expensive cost, it'll be worth it because we might even be able to find clients like through the networking that happens at this event, as well as the attendees will be able to bring leadership skills back to our company and teach other employees as well as what they learned.
As Director of Communications and Outreach, I want to take a focus on the image of our company rather than solely the economic benefits that we could attain from this 50% above average goal, expected goal, I should say. So part of the reason why we've had this increase is related to companies realizing how beneficial it is to use our reports and adjust their behaviors and attitudes for certain criteria to improve their company in areas that they would like to see that improve. And I believe adding on to this data that we see like actual increase would be an emotional. I think that would really be beneficial for our company. So since we already own company, our image means a lot, and establishing that while we're still young, I think is very important. So I believe putting this money back into charities would be a really great benefit. And I was reading through some articles to kind of give some credibility behind this idea. So according to Dr. Dwayne Haldane, whether a company decides to donate to charity or not can have an influence on the image of the company. More specifically, the average firm enhanced its image by pursuing an unconditional donation. So using the money that we've attained and donating directly to charities would be an unconditional circumstance, which I think is something that we should seriously consider because it would enhance the image of our company.
Yeah, I really like that. I guess, do you have any ideas of, organizations that we should maybe look into partnering with, or kind of charitable organizations that, that we can do something with?
Right, so since we're a consulting firm, I think it would be logical to donate to companies that focus on leadership development between maybe different ages of certain kids in certain areas, where it would be really beneficial for their personal and leadership development. Also, any charities that align with have values that align with our own.
What could also work is I could talk to our investors and see where they would want their charity, or what charities they would like, and that would could be a compromise between our two ideas, and see, like, maybe make our investors happy by giving them the chance to donate to some charities they're passionate about or have family affected by and things like that. So that could work.
That's actually really great, and then that would also give some motivation to give a voice behind the reason why we're doing this. And like you said, being passionate about that means a lot more than just choosing to choose.
Yeah, just picking a random charity versus having a personal connection to it. And I believe that would make our investors happy, even more so than just getting like a lump sum back.
Along the same lines, I was thinking that it's possible that we can maybe send out like a survey or like a questionnaire to our employees and see where like their interests are and what organizations are important to them. Because I know our employees, all have different personal issues, whether it be maybe illness or maybe that they are looking for like scholarships for their own kids and everything like that. So we could see maybe like what charitable interests our employees are interested in as well.
I like the scholarship idea because we could give scholarship to people who are interested in our field and help them get through school and hope that once they graduate they can come back and work for us and then continue to develop our programs.
Right, and then it's a win-win situation, right? We're enhancing the image of our company, but also investing in future employees, which invests in our company overall.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we could look at also where we have our largest market. So I know we have a large presence in Chicago. I think we could look at some charitable organizations like on the local level that would kind of put our name out there and kind of maybe we could get some more clients on developing those leadership teams in those cities where we have a lot of markets in, and using those charitable organizations helps them, but also helps us in the long run. So. Okay, so we kind of discussed the charitable organizations. Bree, I had a question about yours. What are the main things that, or I guess who would we send for those leadership trainings? Would we send upper level management at the corporate level, or would we send those employees that are going out and actually doing the consultant visits and meeting with those teams? Like, who are you thinking that we would send for those?
I was thinking like a combination of both. So I was thinking some of our upper level managers, but also having meetings with the ones that we know for sure and asking them, where do you see potential in the group that you're managing? Because since, the 5 of us, we don't really work as one-on-one with our employees as those managers do. I don't think that maybe I'd be the best judge of which employees are the best one to go. So I want to ask the managers that are working one-on-one with our employees who they think are the emerging leaders in our company and who would really benefit from attending the conference, and employees that are going to grow in the company and stay and not just leave in the near future.
Okay.
And I think this is also a great idea in how it relates to the image of our company as well within the community. I mean, we are a consulting firm, so we help develop like leadership teams within other companies, and so the fact that we would even consider or send our own employees to focus on that and development shows that we're not complacent and sticking, just thinking, oh, well, we know how to do this, but we're not going to develop ourselves.
Definitely. That's what I was thinking when I was looking at this conference. I think that even though we're experts in leadership and teaching other people how to be leaders in their companies, I think there's always room to grow. And I think that's going to be the benefit of networking, things that we've never thought of before. And also, as I mentioned before, just meeting potential clients through this event could be really beneficial to our company in that way.
All right, cool. Yeah, I really like the idea of the leadership conference, and I think something that we should definitely consider for our employees, since we are a leadership consulting, kind of learning those extra skills would be really nice. So, I guess with the last two, is there any kind of things that maybe we might want to know as a leadership team? I know one thing I was curious about with our investors, is there any investors that have voiced their, need to get paid back sooner than later? That might be something we should look into as well. If somebody has been, requesting that they get funds back, or
Our investors haven't specifically been itching to get their money back, but they do like seeing the growth of our company. So that I do agree, we should look at other options. But I do think we need to keep this in mind going into the future when we have these growths. At least put some back to the investors so they stay happy and they don't start asking for where's my money, all this. But I think I like going back to that charity idea. That would make them happy. They would know their money's going to a good place. I think that's the main concern, is keeping them happy and making sure they know that we're using their money in a smart way.
Yeah, I definitely think so as well. Yeah, I just was kind of concerned that maybe they were kind of itching for their funds back or anything. So, okay, that might be good to know then. And then kind of looking at research side, is there any projects you might have in mind for spending on research, or any projects coming up that you could see us going even further in?
Not specifically at the moment, because we've been doing pretty well. But I think we would just really like to expand our meta-analysis, because it's a little dated now. 3 years isn't that long, but there's a lot of research that can be done in that time. So expand that to include the more recent things, so that way we can stay up to date and just on top of everything that's happening.
Yeah, I know personally I think that's really important to stay on top of it. That way we can push the best product that we can out, and do the best job that we can. So.
Yeah, I think it's really important, moving forward, just to make sure that we're staying competitive. And I think, if we send people to the conference, we can see, what other professionals in our area are doing, which will give us good insight, but making sure that we're staying ahead so we can continue to see that growth, I think is a worthwhile investment as well.
I think we can continue to grow our research through both a scholarship to create this interest and create loyal future employees, essentially, and as well as sending our employees to the leadership conference, because they'll learn more that they can bring back to help take us forward.
Yeah, so I think we've talked about a lot of great things today. Is there any kind of last minute, this is kind of what I'm feeling, this is what I'm thinking, is there any last discussion that we want to have before we go ahead and make a decision on what to use this funds for?
I'm leaning towards asking investors of different charities they're passionate about. I do see the benefit of scholarships and all that, but there's no guarantee that they're going to come back to us. So I think investors have already told us that their priority is our company. They've put their money in it and all that. So I believe asking them where they want the money to go would be very beneficial, and it would be very good for our image.
All right. I know we've had a lot of great discussion today. I think that moving forward we should go ahead and go with the charity. I think there's been a lot of positive discussion on that. So I guess for our next meeting, if we're going to move forward with that, why don't we go ahead and look into what our investors want, kind of see where our markets are, and maybe we could figure out some local stuff with that, and then also look at some scholarships for some local, maybe high schools or college students that we can go ahead and do so. Is there any opposition to that, or any thoughts on that?
I think that's going to move forward.
Should be good. All right, cool. Let's go ahead, bring back some ideas to our next monthly board meeting in November, and then we should be good to go. All right. Well, thank you guys. We'll go ahead and move on to our next piece on the agenda, and that'll be our expansion. So we'll go ahead and move on to